fragile lives, craziest deaths of the Renaissance. The artists, geniuses, and madmen who died in the most ridiculous ways. The Renaissance, that golden age of art, science, and genius. Which of these deaths shocks you most? Comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Rankings by shock, irony, and engagement power. 1. Tycho Brahe, the astronomer who refused to pee. 2. Giordano Bruno, burned for believing the universe was infinite. 3. Raphael, the lover who painted heaven but died from passion. 4. Francis Bacon, the scientist who froze a chicken and himself. 5. Caravaggio, the painter who fought everyone. 6. Catherine de Medici's astrologer, poisoned by his own potion. 7. Henry II of France, killed by a jousting splinter. The Renaissance, that golden age of art, science, and genius. Michelangelo sculpted gods, Galileo mapped the stars, and Shakespeare gave words to the human soul. But behind every masterpiece and scientific breakthrough was a death so ironic, so bizarre, that even the plague looked normal. Tonight, we're counting down the most unbelievable, tragic, and darkly hilarious deaths of the Renaissance. Proof that brilliance doesn't protect you from being painfully human. At number 7, King Henry II of France. Powerful, romantic, proud, and apparently bad at helmets. During a royal joust, a wooden splinter from his opponent's lance shot straight through his visor and into his eye. He died days later in agony. A king obsessed with honor, undone by a hobby. You can't spell Renaissance man without ouch. Number 6. Catherine de Medici's astrologer. This guy bragged he could predict anything, even cheat death. So he brewed a special antidote and drank it in front of the queen to prove it worked. It didn't. He died within hours. A man who said the stars were on his side never saw his own ending coming. Number 5. Caravaggio, the bad boy of the art world. He painted saints like sinners and sinners like saints, and lived like both. He brawled, gambled, even killed a man in a duel. While on the run for a royal pardon, he caught a fever sleeping outdoors and died before forgiveness arrived. The man who painted light itself faded out in darkness. Number 4. Sir Francis Bacon, the scientist who froze a chicken. Bacon believed knowledge came from experiments. So one snowy day, he tested whether cold could preserve meat. He stuffed a chicken with snow and waited in the freezing air. He caught pneumonia and died days later. The father of the scientific method, killed by his own curiosity. And yes, the experiment worked. The chicken froze perfectly. Number 3. Raphael, the golden boy of the Renaissance. Painter, architect, heartthrob. His art defined beauty itself, but his personal life? Let's say it was busy. According to rumor, he died of exhaustion after one too many nights of pleasure. Doctors bled him to cure his fever, which only made it worse. He was 37. The man who painted heaven was undone by earthly passion. Number 2. Giordano Bruno, the philosopher who saw infinity. He dared to say the universe had no center, that stars were suns, and that God might be bigger than any church. For that, he spent 8 years in prison, then was marched to the stake in Rome. Before the flames took him, he said, "You pronounce this sentence with greater fear than I receive it." The man who saw endless worlds died because his world wasn't ready. And at number 1, Tycho Brahe, the astronomer who refused to pee. A man who wore a gold nose from a duel, owned a beer-drinking moose, and mapped the heavens before telescopes even existed. At a royal banquet, he refused to leave the table to relieve himself, afraid it would offend the emperor. He held it for hours. His bladder burst. 11 days later, he was dead. His last words, "Let me not seem to have lived in vain." He measured the stars, but miscalculated his own pride. These were the geniuses who defined the Renaissance, masters of art, science, and ambition. But every one of them died in ways so absurd, so perfectly ironic that they remind us, no matter how brilliant you are, the universe still has a sense of humor. So the next time you visit a museum, stare at a star chart, or take a science class, remember these fragile lives. They reached for greatness and fell spectacularly into history. Because even in the age of enlightenment, the light could burn just as bright as it could kill,